I wanted to talk a little bit about building a family culture. So as a teacher in the classroom, we don't call them rules necessarily anymore. We call it a contract or an agreement, a culture, classroom culture, and we have the students help contribute to that culture. And usually it's a list of words that we all agree that we will work on. And it's words like respect, integrity. We'll go over some of those other ones, but at home it's important to do the same thing, and having your children help contribute to the family culture that you want to all agree on as far as behaviors and expectations is a very helpful tool in managing just your family in general. So one of the questions that you want to ask, you want to sit down everybody together, any adult or child that lives at the house or is at the house regularly should be part of it, the discussion. And so some of the questions that you want to ask is like, ask your children, hey, how do you think I want to be treated? How do you think the adults in the house would like to be treated? And just have them write down a few words and then turn the question around to them and just say, how do you want to be treated by the adults and by your siblings? If you have siblings, how do you want to be treated? And again, have them jot down those words. And then turn it around to yourself and just say, how do I think my children want to be treated by me? And how do I want to be treated by my children or other people in the house? And so you're just writing down a few words. Those words are going to be like respect, trust, heard. I have my list right here. We've had this list for a while, and it's usually hanging up on the fridge, and we refer to it pretty regularly. I intended to make a big fancy poster and maybe make like a plaque for the wall, just never got around to it. This is pretty effective as well because it was genuine and very authentic. The words that we came up with are being heard, respect, and I'm gonna go back to respect in just a minute, validating, sharing wisdom, trust, engagement, effort, compassion, mindfulness, growth mindset, and integrity. So those are words that we came up with as a family, how we all wanted to be treated by each other. So the children came up with some words, we included that. We came up with some words, we included those. Going back to respect, one of the things, almost everybody comes up with that, but what's important to know about respect is everybody defines respect differently. So you want to ask your children and yourself, what exactly does respect mean? And then you maybe include those words. Still include respect because it's all encompassing, but you want to go ahead and just define respect. And maybe include a few of those words, because I can almost guarantee that when you ask a child what respect means to him or her, they're going to give you a definition, and then you flip it and ask that same child, well, what do you think if you say your parent wants to be respected? What does that mean? If you want to be respected, what does that mean? And then for us, like most of them are pretty understandable. Trust, for example, let's say that I said, hey, I don't want you going over to that person's house without a parent over there or an adult. And the kid might say, well, why? And if I don't feel like the child is old enough to really understand my reasons, I could just say, hey, remember we talked about trust? And this is just one of those times where you're going to have to trust me as an adult or as your parent to make that decision. And in the same time, kids might say the same thing. Hey, mom, you just have to trust me on this, and I promise that I'm doing the right thing. I'm having integrity. I think effort is really important to include, because that will, you can tell your child, hey, I don't think you're making an effort right now to trust or to make good grades or to help with dinner or whatever the effort is that you're looking for. And then the same thing with engagement. Engagement is, coming down for family dinners, going camping, putting the phone away whenever you're asking for movie night or whatever. So those are types of things that you can use for engagement. And when you have this list, it's helpful because then you can just say, hey, remember we all agreed on this and I feel like you're not following through, you're not meeting the expectations. And then you as a family also need to determine what consequences are for not following through. And that's totally up to you guys. A timeout or no electronics for a while. And it's not necessarily punishment, but it's just consequences. But just figure that out as you go. I also have a little sign on here that says I communicate through behavior. That's just a reminder for me that whenever a child is not meeting the expectations, or if they're breaking some, pretty big rules, actual rules that you have in your house, they're communicating something to you. And so I just really work on trying to figure out what behavior is communicating to us as the adults. So anyway, ask those questions of your kiddos, ask yourself those questions, other adults that are in the house regularly. Write down that list. You want to have we have 11, so maybe you want to have anywhere from 7 to 12. You don't want to have too many because then it's overwhelming. But little kids can do this too. You want everybody to be heard and have some words on that list. So let me know how it goes. If you guys have any questions or any comments or any suggestions on how to make this a better process, please comment below, and we want you guys to be heard. Thank you so much.